What's going on, guys? It's Sam Houston. I'm the lead singer of Sam Houston and the Black Odyssey.
Told me I should really slow down. On the floor, people running from the war.
Music for us has always been about escaping. Escaping fears, escaping judgment, shame, escaping mental barriers, escaping mental chains. We sort of brought ourselves into a space where we could be vulnerable about our own thoughts and not be judged. The Black Odyssey, it means a journey that you really can't see. It's a journey in which you don't really know what the destination is, but you know it's a journey that you need to take. Good. All right, let's do it.
Yeah, so when I kind of listen to your music, I'm picking up different genres. Yeah. I pick up, soul. What someone would look at you and think, he may be a R&B artist, right? I pick up some of that, but there's rock elements in there. There's, what else would you say is in there? A little bit of bluesish elements in there.
For sure. Yeah. Blues, rock, psychedelia. Sort of the history behind all of it is just, I'm originally from New Jersey.
Okay.
And urban community within New Jersey, so rock wasn't really a prevalent thing for me. When I moved to Austin, I met my guitar player. His name is Alejandro, and he's the one who originally showed me rock. I didn't listen to Led Zeppelin, and that was just sort of my first introduction to rock. So I found a lot of myself identified in that sort of music just because of my past and some of the things that I went through growing up. I mean, it's just trauma, and you find a lot of trauma in the Black community growing up. I had a brother that was killed by the police in 2010, and that was one of the early, beings of trauma in my life for me and my family. And it was sort of a situation where we didn't really have a full scope on what happened. We just got the news reports that my mom found out on the radio on her way home from work. And me and my brother found out in a parking lot outside of a basketball game. So when you're growing up young and something like that happens and you see your mom cry for the first time, you see your dad cry for the first time, you see your older brother. This was my older brother, so he was sort of like our rock. So you see your brother cry for the first time. You gotta watch your brother in a casket. You see all his friends, and you see all of this stuff kind of just swallowing, the world just swallows in on you. Yeah. And it's just
you have a different perspective.
Yeah, you have a way different perspective of life. You got a different perspective of pain, of joy, because I'm a firm believer that if you haven't experienced pain, you don't really know what joy really feels like. So, just all those things were a product of who I was to become in the future.
Yeah.
And just growing up with the fear of police, the fear of other people dying. I had anxiety for so long for my brother, going to the corner store, or driving to school or something like that. Sometimes my heart would be racing until he got home. It's damn, is my brother gonna come home today? So, it just creates this ball of energy within you, and that energy at its source is neutral, and it could be shifted either way. It could be positive energy or it could be negative energy, and it's up to us to to determine which way that energy was going. So when my brother passed, it was the energy bowl was on fire, but it shifted in a negative direction. Then it was up to me to like decide, okay, this is what happened in our lives. This is like the trauma that we went to. How am I gonna take this negative ball of energy that's either gonna kill me or it's going to make me, you know, super strong? How do I take that from this point to this point? So for me, it began with forgiveness. Like, you know, I was afraid of police and I was angry at police for the longest time because I didn't have an explanation to you know, as to why my brother was killed. My parents didn't.
Yeah. So many unanswered questions.
So many unanswered
so why?
questions. Yeah. Exactly.
Why me? Why us? Why him?
Mm-hmm. You gotta force yourself to like forgive. Like I had to forgive police officers. I had to forgive the person that even killed my brother. I've never met him. I probably never will. But I have to forgive that person in my own mind because he's probably not thinking about me, but I'm thinking about that. So I had to forgive it in order for it to let go.
Can we leave this earth, girl? Take a trip to the moon. I won't bring no clothes.
Being involved in something and having a purpose is a recipe to get out of whatever funk you may be in. What you'll find in a lot of people that have mental health issues is that they don't feel that they have a purpose. But we're all here for a reason. I'm a firm believer that we were not put here for just no reason. We all are here for a reason.
I agree.
We do need to take the strength within ourselves to find that reason.
Absolutely.
It's not gonna always be right in front of us, but it's there.
No.
You gotta go get it though.
You gotta go find it.
Facts.
And you're gonna have L's, meaning losses.
Yeah.
You're gonna have wins, and you're gonna have in-betweens.
Yeah.
And then the win. And when the win comes, it's like, there's no way I would appreciate the win or I would have even got to this win if I didn't go through the big L's and the years.
Which brings me back to
You
the
know?
statement, if you haven't endured pain, you don't really know what joy feels like.
No.
So that's...
And peace.
Yeah, and peace, yeah.
Just that feeling of just being like, I love me.
Yeah,
I love my story.
yes, absolutely.
It's okay.
Absolutely.
It molded me into who I am.
Embracing it,
Yeah.
using it, platform.
Exactly.
Like we're sitting here right now, able to talk about this and share the story with other people. To any inspiring young musicians out there, I want to let you guys know that first and foremost, the opportunities are always there. They may not be in front of you always, but I want you to, I want to challenge you guys to go out and find them. Do your research and just stay persistent. Be determined to do what you want to do. No one can ever tell you no, and remember that. Anything you want is in your power to do.
Hi, I'm Patsy Dolan-Baressa. I'm the Executive Director of the Sims Foundation. And the Sims Foundation is a 25-year-old nonprofit that provides behavioral health services for musicians, music industry professionals, and their dependent family members.
I'm elated to be meeting with Patsy Baressa of the Sims Foundation today. The Sims Foundation is a nonprofit organization that provides mental health and substance use recovery services and supports for musicians, music industry professionals, and their dependent family members. Through education, community partnerships, and accessible managed care, Sims seeks to destigmatize and reduce mental health and substance use issues while supporting and enhancing the well-being of the music community at large. I'm very interested in finding out more. Hi, Patsy. Thank you so much for meeting with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I wanted to talk more about Sims, and I've heard a lot, but I want to hear from the source of what y'all do. Because what I know is, they provide mental health services for musicians and artists in Austin. I have never heard of a program that is catered towards mental health for musicians. So I was like, I have to try to get someone from there to talk to me. So can you tell us what your role is here and just everything about your nonprofit?
All right, awesome. The Sims Foundation, we've been around for 25 years now, actually. We were founded after a musician by the name of Sims Ellison died by suicide in the early 90s. And the people in his world, which was all of the musicians basically here in Austin at the time, and his family, they banded together. If you hear the founders' stories, all of them have lost so many people in the music industry to suicide, to accidents stemming from mental health issues, to overdoses. And so they created Sims Foundation with the goal of really hopefully never seeing another musician ever have to suffer with some sort of behavioral health issue. Very quickly after that, we kept expanding. So now we're the only nonprofit of its kind in the entire nation. We're the only nonprofit that serves everyone in the music industry.
Wow.
That includes, you know, the roadies, the lighting technicians, the sound engineers.
Wait, so it's not just artists?
No, not just the musician. We started out that way.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
So you provide funding, enough funding to be able to provide these services and access to mental health care services of like medical doctors, like psychologists, psychiatrists, and the therapists?
Yeah, we have literally every single level of care that is offered in the United States for behavioral health care. And by that, what I mean is we have individual practitioners who do individual, couples, family, band counseling, group counseling. We've got psychiatric nurse practitioners and psychiatrists who are in our network who provide medication management for our clients, as well as medication-assisted treatment for opioids and alcohol abuse. We have inpatient and partial hospitalization programs
All
for
levels
both.
of care.
For both mental health and substance use. We have inpatient psychiatric hospitals in our network. We have medical detox facilities, residential treatment facilities for substance use, peer recovery coaching. It's literally everything that you can imagine.
It's like mental health heaven.
It is. Yeah.
So when you get up and come to work every day, Patsy, what's your mission? What's your goal?
To always be able to help any person who calls us. So that the thing that we pride ourselves on is being a community member as well. So even for people who don't qualify for our services, I mean, we'll have parents most often will call us from other parts of the country. They have, maybe their son or daughter is a musician, so they Googled that and found us.
Right.
And we don't currently serve anyone outside of Central Texas, but we'll find out everything. We'll walk them, you know, I don't know anything about Boston. Let me call you back and I'm gonna look up based on what you told me, and then we have a relationship with that person.
Is it just me, or is Austin just like kind of a special place? Like where people have just bigger hearts, they really care about their fellow man. Is it just something that, I'm from Houston, which is a great city in and of itself, but there's something about Austin.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I've been here since the mid-'80s when I came for school, and it was certainly much smaller then.
Yeah.
But to me, you'll hear people complain all the time that Austin's changing and I don't like it. But to me, it's the same city. It's just much larger, and I agree with you. I think we just have a beautiful community of people who genuinely care about their fellow man and want to fight for them if something bad's going on. And I think that's why we were able to create Sims in a city like Austin. And I do think music plays a huge part of that. We've always been a music city. Literally, you could walk down the street at any time and you'll hear live music. It could be 11 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday and somebody's playing live music. And I think that when you have a creative city like that, and maybe this is cliche, but I think creative individuals are much more sensitive and they do feel compassion and they are empathetic and it comes out in their art and in their music. And so I think that plays a huge part into why we're such a compassionate, caring village that wants to take care of everybody.
And can you like clarify or differentiate ham from Sims? Because some people are like, what's the difference?
It's very
Can
confused.
I not get the same services there?
Yeah. So ham was initially, and this is, I'm not a historian of ham, but they were really kind of the sister of Sims in the sense that they handled physical health care.
Okay.
And they still do. So they do they do beautiful work, especially so they are strictly for musicians. That's one big difference. If a musician has, say, like a repetitive motion injury that now they can't play their instrument and they need a really expensive surgery, their case managers will go out and try to find, the surgeon and the hospital and the anesthesiologist and to get either a vastly reduced price for them or to get it pro bono so that the person's taken care
of. Amazing. Yeah. So clients would actually present here and they get their services here, or you refer them out to a provider that's contracted with Sims, and then they get their services through that provider.
So basically, all of our clients get their services from some provider in our network.
Gotcha.
What the Sims staff provide is that coordination of care, case management. We do a lot of in-house counseling for family members, especially if the client is inpatient somewhere. We tend to really try to provide a psychoeducation for the family, let them understand exactly what's happening with their loved one. So we're kind of here as just emotional support and an educator, especially when it comes to substance use, because we very much honor that recovery, whether it's mental health or substance use, is the individual's path. And there is no one cookie cutter way to treat any of these things.
No.
And I think a lot of times people come to us, especially the family members, when it's substance use related, and they're like, my child has to go in rehab and they have to do 90 and 90, and the person doesn't want to do any of that. And so what we know by research is that's just going to fail. And
Exactly.
It's
You
just
are
not worth doing it.
100, or should I say 1,000%
Yeah.
correct, it's not going to work. So,
So that's
you kind of
where
got to
we-
meet them where they're at.
Exactly, and that's where we have to do a lot of education and some support for the family member who really had sort of this Hollywood vision of what treatment is supposed to be like, and really sit down and explain, this is why we shared all of this with your son, daughter, husband,
Exactly.
because these are all the options. And here's the research that says that if I force them into something they don't want to do, it's just not going to work. It is scary to make that call to reach out, especially when you've tried before and you felt unheard, or even something worse happened where damage was done. What I would say is call Sims. We hear everyone. We don't force anyone into any kind of treatment or therapy or medications if that is not what you want or what you need. We will take the time to educate you based on what you're telling us. We will be right there to make sure you're being taken care of properly. I would encourage you to do that even if you're not in the music industry, because as I shared earlier with Tina, we care about anyone in our community, and we don't want anyone out there suffering. And we recognize that there's stigma around these issues, but when you call Sims, there is none of that. We will absolutely do everything we can to hear you and take care of you.
Hi, my name is Ray Price, also known as Six Sense, like the movie. We are here in the Austin Notes for Notes studio in East Austin, inside of the Doris Miller Auditorium.
Rose to the top cause the passion in me would started way back in my childhood days. Baby, 4 fortunes, what they would say. So for a lot of my music, I ain't even get paid, but that's okay. I created a legacy, and for that, my name when I fade. I say this may be my last song before I hit 1 million. Let's get gotta get up in the game. Say this may be my last song before I hit 1 million.
Last little bit. How's it going?
How are you doing?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me here.
Thank you so much for
I'm
coming.
excited to hear a little bit about you and your organization, and just tell me all about Ray.
All right. Story's wild. My story's wild. So I was in the military. Well, family first, way back. Whole family's been in the military.
Wow.
So I was in the military myself, in the Army for 8
Did you
years.
move a lot?
13 different states, 3 different countries.
Wow.
Yeah, all over the place, but Fort Hood was my last duty station, right here in Killeen.
Right here, yeah.
So while I was here, a buddy of mine that I was in the military with, so he calls, I'm gonna take you to the show. It's this guy named D Madness. It's this group, League of Extraordinary G's, the LNS crew. At this time, these names meant nothing to me, but I was like, it sounds awesome. And when I saw that, I was just completely like, and everybody cheering and stuff, and I probably didn't move for the whole set. I was just like,
In the trance.
oh man, I'm like, is this for real? So as soon as I did that, I was like, crap, I'm moving to Austin. So I ended up at the Art Institute in 2013. So 2013. So my program I was going for, Bachelor's of Science in Audio Production. So anyway, fast forward a couple years. So they passed me this job opportunity to a place called Pro Acoustic. And at first I'm super excited. I'm designing, because I worked at Guitar Center, and they have this thing called GC Pro where instead of selling like regular instruments, you start designing big audio systems. And that was the promotion that you got if you were just a kick butt employee.
So this is like, you're making like custom
build
out for studios.
Absolutely, for studios, football stadiums, restaurants, IHOPs, all the chains where you hear big distributed audio sound.
Yeah.
That's what I was designing. Problem was, I was in the cubicle, so I had no interaction. I couldn't hear the sound systems unless I listened to them in the warehouse. It was a year later, and I was on lunch break, and I went out and I had my guitar, and I just went. They had this really beautiful sculpture garden out there that I would go sit and eat my lunch at. Yeah. And I just went out there one day and I played my guitar, and then I remember it was raining. It was really gloomy, and a beam of sun rays came straight through the sculpture garden, through these trees, and landed right on my guitar. I mean, I had this black Fender. I still have it, so when I play all the time. I mean, it beamed off my guitar, and I was just like, man. And it was the song I was singing called "Man That I Am." And of course, and this is when the sun came out. Yeah, I'ma get there, but not without taking a stand. I'ma get there, but I'ma say the man that I am. You know, cause I just felt like I wasn't being true to who I was, and I was letting them downplay my dreams as a musician and my passions, and I was kind of conforming to their ideologies, and I was just like, man, this ain't going, nah, man, I gotta be the man that I am. So it just popped up. So I went out when the sun beamed, and I walked in there, maybe shouldn't have done it in the way that I did it, but you know, I came in there feeling myself and was like, hey, I just want to say I appreciate y'all so much for this opportunity, but it's just not for me. So Notes for Notes is a nonprofit that's been around for about 13 years now. We have, I want to say, coming up on 30 studios. We just opened up one in Vegas, and we're getting ready to hit North Carolina and Greensboro. And it started out of a Big Brother program. So the CEO and co-founder, Philip Gillies, but he was one of the big brothers in the Big Brother program, and there was this one troubled youth that he was working with, and he was just like, man, what is it that you want to do? You know, and there was no outlet that was really relevant to what this particular youth was interested in. And he was like, well, do you like music? And he was like, I love music, but you know, there's nothing here. So Philip Gillies brought in his own guitar and let the kid play with that, and he realized the kid was staying out of trouble playing his own guitar. So he was like, man, maybe I can get some more music stuff in here for maybe some other kids that want to have an outlet. So we just started getting little stuff donated. Now we're partnering with celebrities, Brendan Urie from Panic at the Disco. We've had a lot of placement on news all over the world. You know, we're in all the major states and cities, not international yet, but it's coming. I know it's coming. Any inkling of desire, passion that you have, like, exhaust those efforts, because what I've learned is that worst case scenario of going out and trying something on a limb is finding out maybe it's not for you or you don't like it, but it helps you find out what you do like or who you are. It's all about expression. It's about being able to come in and take whatever your problems are, whatever it is you want to share with the world, anything you're trying to overcome yourself. For me, I got to where I'm at doing my music because it was an outlet for me personally. This is how I dealt with my day-to-day struggles. But when they come into these spaces, they're able to share those different worlds. They're able to be friends without those different stigmas attached to them. And they're able to be kids. They're able to be young youth that are able to express themselves. And that's what we encourage, because through that, we can kind of cultivate a positive upbringing through their involvement, in which they spend a lot of time here day to day.
Hi, I'm Gabriana Nash, and I'm an independent recording artist, and I'm so happy to be here. When I was younger, me and my 4 siblings, every time we would go to my grandma's church, the pastor at the time would always like us to sing. So we were kind of like a little family band. And as I got older, it went down to just me and my twin brother would perform all the time. And as we got older, then it was just me. So I was always the one singing in church and stuff. I kind of stuck with it because I realized it was something I really enjoyed. And from there, I learned to like sing the national anthem for UT games and for the congressman, and going up from there. So it was really fun. And what led me here to Notes for Notes was I was singing the national anthem for a rec center game. And by the time I got introduced to this place was around the same time the relationship between my dad started to get a little rocky. So I actually had stuff to write about, and I had stuff to like pour kind of my soul into. And also around that time, I just kind of felt like not only the relationship with my dad was starting to get rocky, but like some of my other relationships started to get a little hard and confusing, and the music was a really good way for me to kind of understand.
I hate the way I act sometimes. Depression takes up all of my time. Sad music helps me
you're going through in life, just try and find something mentally healthy to put a lot of your energy into. And if it's something you're really passionate about, it's okay to fail. Just get back up and keep trying. Because if there's one thing I've learned, there are so many obstacles that you're gonna face. But the passion that I have for it, I just get back up and tell myself it's okay because this is truly what I want to do, and I know this is truly what's going to make me feel better, other than materialistic things that don't matter. So if you're really having a rough time, just find your outlet, and it will all work itself out.
You don't have to hold me too tight for me to let you know. You don't have to hold me too tight, me to let you go. Is when you run away, baby, I run away. Nobody loves me the way I love you.
We are very appreciative that the University of Texas at Austin has allowed us to come onto campus with the film crew today and feature the KUTX studios. We'll be speaking with Matt Riley, who is the director here, as well as the radio personalities, The Breaks. I'm so excited to be here and ready to learn some more.
Hi, I'm Matt Riley, Program Director of KUTX here in Austin.
Awesome. So can you tell me a little bit about, what you do here at KUTX?
Sure. I'm in charge of all the programming. So anything that comes out of the speakers or has our name on it, it all ultimately is my responsibility. And so that's everything that happens from the songs we play to what you hear between songs. I manage all of our hosts. And then if we do any events, that originates from my desk. And so it's a pretty broad purview of responsibilities.
So local artists, are you a big promoter of local artists and musicians here in Austin?
Absolutely. We are the Austin Music Experience. And so we have found that the health of the Austin music scene is our health. And it's also vital to the health of Austin, because music is worth about $2 billion per year to the Austin economy. And so we have found that drives tourism, that drives new folks wanting to move into Austin. It's because of this culture that has developed around music that people want to be here, they want to play here, but they also want to live here and raise a
gravitating towards the music.
Right, and businesses come here as a result of the culture of Austin. So if a tech company gets a tax break from Texas, they could go to Houston or Dallas or San Antonio, but they choose Austin because their workers probably will have a more fun lifestyle in Austin than they will in those other cities.
Right.
And so that even boils down to their physical and mental health.
Yes.
To the individual musicians making music in town. So with Sims, Ham, Black Fret, and the Austin Music Foundation, you have 4 big nonprofits that are focused on professional development, but also health for Austin musicians. And so we, as a media outlet, use our megaphone to help support those entities. And occasionally we have events that help raise funds for them.
That's awesome. Can you tell me some more about Black Fret and Austin Music Foundation? Because we've gotten kind of acquainted with Sims and Ham, but I want to know a little bit more about Black Fret.
Sure. There's an organization called Black Fret that provides funds for working musicians to be able to pursue their careers without having to worry about, how am I going to get my van fixed? How am I going to patch that hole in my amplifier? So what they have is a membership base of people who love music and donate to Black Fret, and then Black Fret uses their membership base to highlight particular musicians, and then their membership base votes on those musicians to see who gets grants. And so over the years, they've paid out over $3 million in grants to local musicians.
Wow.
So that they can get on the road, make money, and not have to have day jobs, frankly. And also they can just focus on creating great music, which will ultimately serve our economy and our lifestyle.
That's awesome. And Austin Music Foundation.
So the Austin Music Foundation is a nonprofit that focuses on more of the professional aspects of being a musician. So it's everything from songwriting workshops to what do you need when you go on tour, professional development services, but also making connections with kind of the young up-and-comers with some veteran musicians, and also putting them in front of new and diverse audiences that might want to buy their records and help them out. And so it's a way for particularly new musicians to learn the ins and outs of the music industry and how they get going.
That's
to
beautiful.
Make it a career.
So kind of just like mentor that new artist,
right,
that new musician, and kind of help them navigate it all.
Right.
Okay, that's beautiful. So can you touch a little bit about, there's a program that I was researching about called King. And I know that, KUTX is affiliated with that nonprofit in some type of way. Can you kind of elaborate more on what King is and how y'all help?
Yeah, it's Kids in a New Groove. And so we're not formally affiliated, but we have supported their efforts. And so they're a pretty cool organization because they provide music lessons to kids in foster care. So these are the most vulnerable, some of the most vulnerable among us. Mm-hmm. And this provides these children with an amazing creative outlet. And in many cases, it provides a path out of their situation for a good number of them. And at the very least, it provides them with some hope and some joy and what can be a kind of joyless experience. And so, we're happy to help support the Kids in a New Groove project, and they have a fundraiser every year, a big one, which is actually broken down into a series of shows. And
nice.
So we help promote that.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, that's just all about being a community, and we all love music, and if we can help others at the same time, that's great.
Awesome. Matt, if you could talk to someone out there that, maybe feels like they feel a little discouraged, they don't know like what to do as far as getting involved with music, maybe struggling and dealing with some depression, anxiety, just not really knowing what the outcome is going to be. What would you tell somebody like that watching?
So there was a famous musician that lived here named Ian McLagan, and he played with Rod Stewart in the Faces, and he played with the Rolling Stones, and he passed a couple of years ago, but he had this great line, and that was, "Find your Austin." And what he means by that is find your people, find your group. And this doesn't happen in a vacuum. So you have to go out and find like-minded people. People that are into the same kind of music that you are, or people that are in the same kind of instrument that you are. So find the people that are like you in the music scene and make friends, play shows with those people, go to their shows, they'll come to your shows, and you can create a little network, and then your little network can connect with another little network. Next thing you know, you've got a great little ecosystem going. But that would be my first kind of thing, is to just, movement creates movement. So once you get out and move around and start talking to people, you'll find that things will start happening. And that's often the hard part, is taking that first step of just start moving and just go out. And, it's tough to go out by yourself sometimes to go to a show, but that's often the first step.
That's how you start, exactly. Yeah. That's great advice. Thank you so much for meeting with me. Sure. I really appreciate it. And I'll be tuning in to 98.9.
Please do. Thank you.
All right.
This is KUTX 989, the Austin Music Experience in Austin, Texas. Get up, stand up, pull up, all of that good stuff, because you are back with another great, exciting Saturday night of The Breaks.
I'm so clutch. I'm so clutch. I'm so clutch. I'm so clutch. I'm so clutch.
Confucius and Fresh of the Breaks Radio Show. Tell me some more about that. What's the radio show about?
The Breaks is the top-rated hip-hop show, hip-hop and R&B show on KUTX 98.9. Every Saturday, 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. And we are here to let it be known that rap, hip-hop, R&B is alive and well and thriving in the city of Austin, Texas.
That's really important. Austin gets a bad rap for not being diverse and there being nothing urban, hip-hop, black going on here in this city. And how long has it been running?
It's 3 years.
3 years, wow. So I've been reading and researching, and I know that y'all have been getting recognition. Can you tell me about some of that?
So recently we were nominated for Best Radio Program at the Austin Music Awards.
Third year running.
The third year running.
Wow. So y'all are all about supporting local music. And you're playing this music on this radio show?
Yes.
So all the local music that you guys deem top quality, unique, different, y'all give airplay to? And how about the artists? Do they come on and talk to you?
We do artist interviews, artists that we do play. I wouldn't say that we deem high quality. Like I said, if we play it and it sounds good to us and we think other people will like it, we add it to our playlist and we try to keep it in steady rotation if it's good.
Yeah, mainly, and we were told that when we got up here, like, hey, make sure you bring artists up here that, that have that momentum, and we want to help continue that momentum. That's one thing we do like about the music we play, because sometimes we'll find artists right at the precipice of them going to that next level. And so it's all, like the Sam Houstons, or like who else, Naomi.
The Naomi, the Amero Souls, the DZ Browns, the Titas.
The beautiful part about being here, like this is like the #1 radio station in the city. And so for them to give us that platform, and we were able to reach an audience that, like you said, normally doesn't know about hip hop or R&B. And to constantly tell them, like, hey, we're here. Yeah. Like, this is the music that exists here. And to give these artists also access to that audience. A very, very interactive audience that loves KUTX.
But like that audience will come out and they'll like you said, it's very interactive, and they'll tell us how much they appreciate us being on KUTX and how much they appreciate us exposing them to music that they knew nothing about or were unaware of in the city, artists that they didn't know were here, and there was people hear them on the show, and then they find out where their next performance is, and they'll be out and supporting that artist. And now these artists that we play have a whole new set of fans. Even if it's just one fan, they got somebody that wasn't there before.
Absolutely. I feel like all of that ties directly into music and mental health, because when someone doesn't feel supported, they're not gonna feel, like going on with their music career, with their journey. But to know that, you guys are here to support them, that's like, it starts the momentum going. And they know, wow, somebody gave me a chance.
What's up, everybody? This is DJ Grip right here representing Austin, Texas. Welcome to the Dub Academy.
Celebrate.
What's up, everybody? It's DJ Grip right here at the Boys and Girls Club of Austin, Texas. Dub Academy, we done teamed up. We're gonna show the kids a little bit of something on the music side. We got the production side, and we're gonna show them how to do it on the ones and twos right here, man. Boys and Girls Club of Austin, Texas. Dub Academy, we right here in the building, man. Come check it out. He said back in the day, we used to have to carry records, right? We used to actually carry CDs. I used to have to burn my music onto a CD to be able to DJ.
Looks like you've been busy today. What you been working on?
Definitely came at the right time, man. We've been working on some music. I'm actually working on some production, and I have a concert this Saturday too. I'm DJing, so I was working on my set as far as what I was gonna play and stuff like that. So yeah, we've just been doing some stuff, man. Working here at Dub Academy, do a lot of things production-wise, and we also have a DJ school, so it's kind of where I roam right here, and also DJ around town. Been DJing for about 15 years. So,
wow.
Yeah.
How long have you been in Austin?
I've been in Austin since 2002. So came here from Houston, kind of fresh out of high school, and was no direction. But eventually DJing came calling. Kind of just jumped head first into that. Dropped out of school and never looked back since. So DJ Grip worldwide, man. Out of since Ice Cube, Austin, Texas, man. Hot 95.9 in the building. Big Snoopy. Score it too, remember? Yeah. Hot 95.9 in the building.
So, what does mental health mean to you as a DJ, as someone that's around music and teaching it, practicing it, and all that, and producing it?
Yeah, it's real important. Mental health is definitely something that, as an artist, to focus and be aware of how you're feeling and taking care of yourself mentally, physically. It's long hours, late nights, a lot of just trying to find creative inspiration, and it can wear on you, writer's block and unmotivated times of your career. So very important. Mental health, and just to take care of yourself. For me, it's like different things, you know. You go through even stage fright sometimes, you know, like just kind of, not,
Like
anxiety. Yeah, you know, nervousness.
You don't know what you're walking into.
Yeah,
you don't know how they're gonna receive you and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all goes along with mental health. And
so what do you do to like kind of cope with some of that nervous energy?
Prepare. You know, I think preparation is always key. You know, in anything you do, you gotta have that confidence when you go out. So if you're performing, you go on stage, you gotta prepare and then experience. I mean, once you do it for so long and you've done it, you know, I could say being on tour recently, I went on tour with Snoop Dogg, Trey the Truth, Warren G, opened up for all those guys, and we went on a mini tour, and it was cool because it was like traveling from different cities every day, and then you're performing in front of like 2,000-3,000 people, and you kind of just get get used to it, you know, after doing it daily. And you kind of think back and like, man, I would probably had stage fright, 10 years ago when I was first started. I wouldn't have probably been able to do it. I think it's cool when you can be able to reach out and talk to anybody about your problems. Everybody goes through, different things in life. I don't think the judgment period is over for mental health. I think it's pretty common now, so just don't be afraid to reach out.
How do you just like stay healthy overall, mentally? You just continue to just do what you love to do. Is that a good part
honestly,
of it?
No. You have to have a balance. I mean, just like with anything, I don't even listen to music in my car. I don't even listen to music in my off time because you're so around it. It's kind of hard.
Saturated with music at all times.
I mean, it's one of those things where I kind of just zone out and won't listen to music while I'm in my car. I'll be just, pure quiet, and if you have that balance and you can keep a clear mind and do other things that's fun in life, go out to eat, travel, and obviously don't do everything with music, but it's hard to a musician because you can't turn it off. It's hard.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you definitely are addicted to the work, so you kind of have to have that balance. But I think once you do it for so long, it's just second nature at that point.
Yeah.
Just keep in tune with how you're feeling on a daily basis and exercise, work out, drink water, drink a lot of water, because that's like our worst thing as artists. You're out constantly out getting offered, whatever it is, alcoholic drinks and late nights and traveling, and you're just around a lot of cigarette smoke and whatever it may be, so you gotta take the time to work out, eat right. So that's always great.
Call it party elements. You're around party elements at all times.
Absolutely. And
you're like, have I drank any water today?
You gotta have self-discipline, man.
Right. So what would you say to someone that feels like, wow, I wanna kind of do what DJ Grip is doing, and he's doing big things. He's opening for like known artists. He's like touring. Man, how do I get there? I don't have the skill set. I don't have the equipment. I don't have a cool studio.
I think that first of all, just gotta, stop thinking like that. I mean, it's like I always tell my students or people I mentor, you don't have to be, a big 6'8" to, play, basketball or hit the ball over the fence to DJ, You just kind of have to have a, rhythm, just a little bit of motor skills, and, anybody can be a DJ, tall, small, big, whatever. And that's kind of the thing. If you start early, start really applying yourself, learning about the DJ culture and, music in general. There's literally kids now getting DJ equipment put in their hands at 5-6 years old.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like nowadays the DJs are the rock stars. I remember when I was a kid, I wanted to be a rock star. Now kids want to be DJs. So I think it's great. It's definitely cool. That's definitely what I would say. Start now. Start early if you got a child or if you're interested in it. Don't wait, because you can do it as a hobby. Anybody can just do it as a hobby and then try to do it maybe as a living.
Hi, my name is Shirley Ferreira, and I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about what is music therapy, who is a music therapist, and maybe talk to you about my practice. Jesus Music Therapy Services and Center. We're located in San Marcos, Texas, and we provide services here at the facility and out and about throughout the community in about 6 other counties. So if you have any questions, stay tuned. I think you'll find this interesting. And out here at our facility, what you'll find is a little bit of everything. We believe that nature, based on research, is a really wonderful way to engage with your therapy, but also help you to cathartic and process through things. And so we also offer out here on our property, we have some therapy animals. We have potbelly pigs, we have ducks who make a lot of noise. We have a couple of chickens. Maybe I have a small chicken problem, we don't know. And then some therapy dogs. But we have all of this out here, and we have session spaces that are available inside and session spaces that are available outside. But 100% all of your therapy that is conducted here is confidential, governed by HIPAA, and what you say here stays here, but we allow you the freedom in this space to process.
So come on in. So this is our facility, small but humble. We did this intentionally because we found that we originally started in Virginia, and we had big old clinic space, individual offices, the two-way mirrors and the recording and all that.
Is too expensive.
The overhead was ridiculous, but people responded differently because they felt like they were going to therapy. And we wanted to remove that, if that would help remove the stigma and adjust their expectations about what to have. So we were intentional about the home model, the look. So most people, they're like, I'm gonna go see my therapist at their house, and we're just gonna make music. So it changes how they're, and so they tend to a little cozy, but they tend to respond better. They cathard more. So I love it, and I think we're one of the few in the state that actually have a home-based model. Hold it.
Oh, hold it. Okay.
Yeah, wrap your arms around it. Give it a hug.
Give it a hug.
So if I were to play it while you hold it, you feel the vibrations. So every time that vibration hits your body, everything from your cells out gets adjusted to the music, to the tone that's being produced. And so vibrotactile stimulation is one of the main things that we use to change your neurochemistry. It changes your physiology, but it starts with how it changes your brain first. We have a wide range of clients. We have working professionals, so we have some really early like meditation sessions and drumming sessions to have a surgeon who likes to get amped up to get into the day, and that way they can feel like they have something to process. We work with the penal system, so we also have some court judges that come, and we do sessions with them and get them started into the day before they go and start doing all of that. And but music is something that's innate to us. Like every part of us is musical. We have a heart that beats to a rhythm. We speak to a rhythm. We walk with a certain cadence. So all of that moving together, we're like one big polyrhythmic functioning instrument. And so to take that and put it external to ourselves on an instrument really allows people the ability to express themselves and to fully say what they need to say. Because music is one of the few activities ever in life that we can engage in that engages every cell in our body. Everything in us has to move to what the music is doing. So our cells start to vibrate and they get happy. And as they vibrate, it goes up into our brain, and our brain starts to release different neurotransmitters and chemicals into the bloodstream that change our central spinal fluid, that change our blood flow, change our blood oxidation. So it can even change our immune system and make our immune system stronger. And so we don't really think about those things because it's just, oh, this is just my song. But everybody can relate in that there's probably one song that does it for you, and there's a song that does it for me, and as soon as it comes on, oh, forget about it. 45 minutes on repeat. I'm just like, yeah, that's that's so good. That's so good. Hello, Knuckles. Hello, my Knuckles.
So are the animals part of your practice?
They are, oddly enough. We didn't set out to do this, but we started doing some really intense research on nature and natural habitats and what that does for our human physiology. And what we found is that 98% of people tend to relax greater. We have a trauma recovery group, so we work with sex slave recovery and also PTSD, just secondary. Yes, and so when we have them come out, they like to kind of sit not too close to each other. Sometimes we do drumming here, sometimes we do drumming back over there in the bonfire. We'll actually light a bonfire and have them write down the one thing I want to let go of today, and they throw it into the fire, and then we drum. But in this room, we'd like to give people like the giant pillows, have them sit down on it. We teach them how to breathe, and then And you can just hear, right? And all those, give it a go. It's so good. Right? I think one of the reasons this is so great is because our bodies are actually like giant tuning forks, and so different parts of our body resonate to different frequencies. So this stimulates the entire body from the top of the head to the soles of the feet. So depending on what somebody comes in with, we use these, and it can vibrate so hard that it causes tumors to break up, it causes cells to move, and because it does that, this is a great thing for some of our oncology patients where they just come, and this is a way to confront their chemo while going through chemo. And in this room here, this sweet one, this is, we call it our hypnotherapy room. We both do guided imagery and music, which is a bit like hypnosis, but a little different with a twist. We do it to music, but it's like introducing the subconscious mind to the conscious mind. GIM historically has been, is introduced by Helen Bonney, the GIM methodology to music therapy, and it is
GIM stands for?
guided imagery and music.
Okay.
And she, through her research, likened it to an acid trip. What happens neurologically when the person is going through what we call a journey, they end up going somewhere, and their brain creates all this imagery to go with the music. And sometimes it's not even with the music, it's the trauma that they're replaying, and we've got to get it out. So when we bring them into that very vulnerable place, we don't ever implant anything. We only ask questions and pull things out. So over here in this room, this is the Suite 2. Sometimes we use this as an aftercare room, but when we have clients who have gone through such an intense process with GIM, we bring them in here and we just let them sit and we have them draw out what they've seen. So it's very similar to mandala drawing, but it is intentional drawing. It is actually what has been in their brain, just sitting, and they've been carrying it with them. So we ask them just put it out. And once they do, they're able to process. So in here on the walls, you'll see some of what some people have. This is a pencil drawing that someone did. Wow. This is an oil painting. Some of our younger clients and some with TBI, it's just what they're able to do, but yeah, so everything is customized and tailored to whatever they need. So you can see where, you know, somebody may begin processing very dark and they may end up somewhere over here at the end. And it's amazing the things that people see just because the music stimulated them in such a way that it just popped something, it triggered something snapped, and it has to come out. And so we give them the space and the support to do that. Music therapy and board certified music therapist has to study psychology, they have to study medicine, they have to study neuroscience. It is those three elements brought together around music that make the music therapist in music therapist toolbox. So all of those things go into, and all those components go into how we are able to do an evaluation, to conduct an assessment. This practice, we specialize in biofeedback and neurobiofeedback, which means we're gonna hook you up to machines and you might tell me you're feeling fine, but your heart just said something else, you know. We have these main brainwave functions, and there is a way to program your brainwave functions so that way you're getting ideal sleep, you have ideal digestion, you are awake when you're supposed to be awake. So there's this groggy, we have some people, I just can't get up in the morning. It takes me 45 minutes to start getting up. It's, oh, we can fix that. We have a song for that. And then we introduce and we teach to others. So that way, when you come to therapy, you are leaving with a tangible takeaway. It is something that you can enact and implement into your own day-to-day routine that will change your life in as little as 6 minutes a day. But we try and make sure that everybody knows it's unconditional positive regard is what you're going to receive here. It's unconditional, positively provoking, edifying regard. If you want to give an acronym, we call it UPPER. Upper thoughts, upper thinking, upper doing, upper way of existing, upper way of being. You can go through something. As I learned through my own process, I was diagnosed with a terminal illness in the early 2000s, and I was in one of my fantastic treatment chambers, and there was, you know, like the little hodgepodge of magazines and things, and I thought, well, I'm just gonna read something, I'll take my mind off the pain. And I open this magazine and I see, oh, there's this thing called music therapy. Now we have Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, who was shot in the head. Her music therapist is not too far from here. And in her recovery process, she, really gave great advocacy for the field, to say, hey, music does work. We can do these things. But for my own process, I found myself reading about something I didn't have access to. And I thought, no, everybody should have access to this because I am writhing in pain and I need something. And so through my own process and my own journey of healing, I learned for myself just how powerful music therapy can be. And so when I finally got out of hospice care, I was like, no, I'm gonna be a music therapist. I'm going to be what I didn't have. That's how it all started. So for me, that's how it all started. It was very personal. In that process, I lost my children, and when my kids died, I needed to figure out how to process, how to overcome, but how to deal with the grief, how to deal with the anger, how to deal with the confusion and all of that kind of stuff. And I think what sets this practice apart from other practices is that we have practitioners here who have personal experiences that have been deeply traumatic, but we are still more than conquerors, and it is possible to be more than a conqueror in spite of and in the midst of. And so that is at least my perpetual hope, is that is a confidence that I can offer to my clients and to my patients, that when you sit in front of me, you don't just get all the stuff that I've read about in the theories. You get somebody who's walked through it and came out on the other side more victorious. And in that process, I have learned so many things about different ways to apply music, and these are well researched in our fields, but they have also allowed me to bring something to a client that I can say, I know this works, and I know it seems strange that I'm asking you to do this, but I just want you to do this, and trust me, you will be better for doing it. And I think that it's a confidence that they give back to me, but it's also a confidence that I give to them. So I am perpetually blessed because I learn from every single one of my people, every single one of them, and they all changed my life in some way.